Okay, after dealing with it for the first couple of games, I've went ahead and made sure that that annoying buzz is not persisting through this video. So if you watched the first two, I'm really sorry that you had to listen to that. And that's one of the reasons why I only did the one game in the first video. So we're going to go ahead and jump into a game now, and hopefully the buzz will not be there. But we are 1-0 so far in our run. A little bit surprising just because this is not a traditional draft build for me. I usually do something a bit more aggressive. We're still in the colors that I prefer because I kind of forced that and shoehorned it, but this is keepable. We're on the draw. We don't have an island, but we do have a 2-drop, and it's really hard, in all honesty, to throw back any hand that has 4 lands in it. I just have nightmares about doing something like this and then immediately not getting land after that. If you go down to 6 cards and your hand has like 2 lands, you just feel bad typically. So go ahead and develop our Adapt-A-Bear, the Build-A-Bear workshop. We do also get the Clamor Shaman hopefully coming our way here soon. Alright. Or we could end up going with a Vandal here. Interesting decisions to make. This could help us find our lands a bit faster. Let's go ahead and develop this first. Still think I want the counter here over the haste. I got a feeling against this Azorius deck we're not going to be burning him down too quickly. And our hand also doesn't really support that, so we'll get the counter on this, but being able to discard something like Duelist that isn't helping us out a ton right now is potentially beneficial. We're going to not play this mountain first, because if we're going to discard this and draw a card, we're hoping to draw an island, and then Spiral will allow this to enter play. Though the other option that we have is we could also develop this and just make it so that this cannot block this turn, and which would allow us to push a fair amount of damage. This ends up not getting a counter, but we could just give it haste. And so, in that regard, we'll just go ahead and do that. We will develop this, go ahead and give it haste, and then we will attack with everything. This will make it so this cannot block. And we will get rid of the Duelist to draw a card. Okay, so it is at least a blue source. Get our 41st card in the form of the Locket. Which the following turn, if we draw a land, we can still develop this. And if we don't draw a land, alright. Well, we also could develop the Locket into Growth Spiral, potentially. Playing this is pretty important, though, because the faster it gets online, the more likely we are to be able to just nuke that by pulling this counter off. Getting this online gets us up to 6 to make that a pretty reasonable play as well. So a bit of a tough call here, because this as a 3/3 means it does block both of these potentially. So yes, this is not an easy decision. Getting up also to 6 also means that we can adapt this. We do have a lot more flexibility, and we can still block this as necessary. So I actually, now that I'm looking at it, feel like this ends up being our correct play. And we can wait and do this in response. So we're just going to go ahead and pass. We're just going to go ahead and pass for now. So they develop another lifelinker. And a wall. Top 4 cards of our library. Let's go ahead and let that resolve. All right, we didn't miss out on too much that was important there. We'll let this go through. End of turn, we'll go ahead and do our growth spiral. And we'll happily put that into play. So now we also have the Wrecking Beast or the Hydroid. And again, we can also make this jump up to a massive brute, massive beast. Playing this does mean that we could start nuking some of these as well. But this feels like the best option here. I mean, if we wait one more round, though, we could be extra greedy and try to get this up to 8, right? Because then we would gain 4 life and draw 4 cards. But I think that this is enough. Let's just go ahead and go with. Let's go ahead and go with this. Let's play our land per turn. And we'll say no attacks for now. So we still get a nice 5/5 flying trample. If they have removal. Alright, so they gain some life. I was gonna say, if they have removal, then they can try to push through this, but at least now we've got a flyer to block. A lot of different options here. Let's go ahead and scry. Let's throw this to the bottom, but let's keep that on top. That'll be very helpful going forward. And I do also think that getting this up and running is important. This would trade with the Angel, but we're going to say no attacks for now. Because they could double block, but until we find... like, if we find a combat trick, then we'll consider dealing with that. So we have this that we can develop, which is tempting. But we also, I think, want to put counters on this at some point, though we can pull the one off of this to nuke here. So I think developing this is fine for now. We might end up sacrificing this as well, just to draw more cards. And I actually think that's going to be what our play is at the end of the next turn here. So we're going to go ahead and just pass. And then we're going to slowly look to neuter their board over time. We can activate this, pulling this off at the end of the turn to shoot, and we can draw cards. And the next turn we can stick counters on here to start nuking the other lifelink creatures as well. Alright, so at the end of their turn, we're going to activate this. So we're going to target this and target this. Pull a counter off. Try to nuke a 3/1. They deploy some flyers. And we're going to go ahead and draw some cards. This seems like a really good one for us to pick up, as does Rhythm. Now we still have 6, so we can adapt the creature. So I'm fine with developing this. We also have 6, so we could do this, but we're going to save this, I think, for annoying them a bit further when we whittle down their board here. Being able to bounce a couple of flyers and then make this so it can't block and so on and so forth feels just better. Still have a bit of time, so we're not worried about drawing out yet. So let's go ahead and just let this go for now. hexproof from monocolor. Now that's interesting because that means we will not be able to target it with this. So there is not a lot we can do there. So we're gonna nuke that. Actually, hold on. We're gonna add some counters to this bad boy first. Now we're gonna nuke this. Pull a counter off of this. That is very, very nice for us, because that means we have a way to deal with this, because it's only hexproof from monocolored. So we're actually just going to go ahead and do that now while they're tapped out, so that they don't have a good way to save it. Do also have the beast that we can develop, so let's go ahead and do that as well. Draw ourselves a card here. We'll put the counter on it a couple of times. Gives us more fuel for our buddy here, potentially. Now I suppose if we swing with this and they double block here and here, we could nuke them both, right? It's a 7 combined health, and it... Alright, they can concede. So yeah, we were hitting a point there where I was about to consider attacking. It made the most sense, and with the Guardian project we would have overwhelmed them, but we take the victory. So it's possible I could have been more aggressive. I like to be a little bit conservative when I'm in a pretty commanding board state though. So I'm happy with that win. And yeah, we're 2-0 so far. So thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next video.